I've wanted to make this video for a long time, and I'm finally ready to make it. In the late spring, early summer of 2021, my father would call me and say that he was fatigued. He was more tired than usual, oddly out of breath, having some pains in his back at night. Just wasn't feeling like himself. I went to go visit him. He lives about 3 hours away by plane. And I went to go visit him. It was probably late June, early July, somewhere around there. Hung out for a few days and we played golf together. He wasn't even able to get through the 18 holes. To 9 holes, we had to stop playing because he was so tired and he had so much back pain. So we go to the chiropractor after. As I'm sitting in the car, I'm trying to figure out what is wrong with my dad. Some history on him. He had a history of type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, a little bit overweight. He was always about 20 pounds or so overweight. Arthritis, diverticulitis. But he said this felt different. So after the trip, as soon as I got home, I drafted an email. And I sent this email to my father on all these things that it could be and tips that he should do next. The first thing was go see your doctor and tell him how you're feeling and let's go from there. So he goes to his primary care doctor. The physical exam is fine, vitals are fine, and the blood work is fine. So the doctor, even though I want to have it done, the doctor decides not to order a CT scan at this time and says, come back in 3 months. Months go on, and my father continues to call me and tell me he's just not feeling like himself. Until one day in November, and let me tell you, my dad was a tough guy. He dealt with arthritis. He dealt with diverticulitis pains, back pains. He always had some sort of pain going on chronically. So another pain for him, a tough night sleeping. Oh, I'm not that hungry. Oh, I'm losing weight. He just dealt with it. He didn't think, could this be something worse? Until one night in mid-November, the pain got so bad, my mother takes him to the ER. That night, my mother calls me and tells me my dad has stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And this cancer was so severe that it's not only in the pancreas, it's spread to other body systems and other organs. 1 week later, I'm sitting there with the cancer specialist who tells my father he only has about anywhere from a few months to maybe a year to live. Only 1 month later, my father passed away of pancreatic cancer after 1 round of chemotherapy in hospital that caused his colon to inflame. On top of that, the complications with the so advanced pancreatic cancer, he passed away exactly 30 days from diagnosis. He went from, I'm not feeling right, to the worst diagnosis that you can get. I wanted to create this video to spread awareness about pancreatic cancer. I know a lot of you watching this video are EMS providers. We're always so focused on the patient, the patient, the patient. This video will help you with your patients, yes, but also your own family's health and your own health. It wouldn't be a Paramedic Coach video without some teaching. I think the biggest issue is when people think about the pancreas, yes, we automatically think about diabetes and insulin. We forget about one of the main things the pancreas does, digestion. which is why one of the signs and symptoms of pancreatic cancer is lack of appetite, right? And we'll talk about more in a little bit. But here's the big thing to remember, the pancreas. Think about it has a role in digestion and glucose control. So the pancreas aids in digestion. What it does, it releases a ton of different enzymes into your digestion so you can break down food. And yes, as a lot of us know, of course, the pancreas maintains proper blood glucose levels. That's our insulin. That's our glucagon that controls our blood glucose. Now, there are some risk factors with pancreatic cancer, but some people have been diagnosed without any of these. But let's go over the risk factors that we at least know of and a quick tip for you. So alcohol and or tobacco use, heavy, long period of time. This is the biggest one that I need to share with you, and please hear me on this. You are at a greater risk of pancreatic cancer if you have type 2 diabetes or a recent onset of worsening or a new onset of diabetes out of nowhere. This is literally the red flag for pancreatic cancer, because someone that is a type 2 diabetic, your pancreas is already malfunctioning. It's already under attack, right? So this is serious. So many people want to think, oh, I'll just take a pill. It's like, no, this is something serious. If you can get out of type 2 diabetes, I would highly recommend that. If it's possible, if it's diet or exercise related, I would encourage you strongly to do that, because you should lower your risk of pancreatic cancer based on this. Now, people that are overweight, obesity, and then poor diet, right, could be related. Now, it's not a rule, but there are some genes. I'll give you one here. The BRCA2 gene. It has to do with an increased risk. There can be a malfunction in this gene here, and that can give you an increased risk of pancreatic cancer. Not many pancreatic cancers are based on genes and family history, but I wanted to give you one that you could get a gene test on to see. It's also to do with other cancers as well. And finally, a history of pancreatitis, right? Which usually comes back to being linked to heavy alcohol use. Now, again, the sneaky thing about pancreatic cancer is you can have none of these risk factors. And I'm going to give you an example. You may have heard about the celebrity Maria Menounos. She's not of advanced age. She is extremely healthy. She was diagnosed with stage 2 pancreatic cancer. And I'm going to go over the signs and symptoms here. She had some of these signs and symptoms, and still her doctors were puzzled on what might be going on. And she had several doctors. And obviously, knowing she's a celebrity, money was an issue for her either. So even with the best doctors, multiple doctors, even she had a hard time figuring out there was pancreatic cancer. And it wasn't until she got an MRI, like with my father, who had a CT scan done, where they finally saw it. Now, here are signs and symptoms. First is excessive fatigue and feeling tired all the time. Remember, my father would call me and say, I'm feeling tired. I'm more short of breath when I'm walking around or walking upstairs. All of a sudden, right? These are our first two right here. Stomach and back pain. It can radiate from the stomach to the back. My father, when he would go to sleep at night, a back pain he couldn't shake, right? That back pain with poor sleep, okay? Weight loss that is unexplained. So your diet hasn't changed, your exercise hasn't changed, but you're dropping weight like crazy. That is a sign of pancreatic cancer. Then little to no appetite. My father eventually, he wasn't hungry, he was something nauseous, which I didn't put on here. Nausea, vomiting is also another one as well. He was so nauseous that he didn't want to eat. One that can occur is jaundice. Again, the eyes, the skin. This can happen when there's backup into the liver, and the liver can actually become enlarged. Okay, so that's another key. Loose, or for lack of a better word, just odd stools. Just odd stools. And again, the last one's poor sleep. And again, nausea, vomiting as well. Going through this with my father, I've learned a lot, and I want to share my final tips with you. Number one, if something feels wrong with your body, something doesn't feel right, see a doctor immediately. And I know this can happen. I'll share a scenario with you. You feel something's wrong. Maybe it's one of these symptoms that I share with you in this video. You call your primary care doctor. They tell you they're booked for weeks. Oh, they're booked a month out. You need to take action of your health care. You're in charge of your health care. You. Don't wait. Go to an urgent care center. Just see a provider there. See another primary care doctor. Get in with someone and get in front of a doctor immediately to start the process, because pancreatic cancer, the unfortunate thing about it, signs and symptoms usually don't start appearing until it is usually stage 3, stage 4, or worse, right? In the worst stages. So that is tip number one. The second tip I want to give to you is when we're talking about getting a second opinion and the scanning, right? The majority of the time, the pancreatic cancer is found because finally the patient is scanned. I shared with you the story of my father. Midsummer of 2021, goes to the doctor with these symptoms, with the history I explained to you. Diabetes, right? In the history, the stomach pain, the tiredness, not feeling right. The doctor that he trusts tells him, I'm not going to order you a CT scan. If you still feel this way, come back in 3 months. My message to you is, get a second opinion. Talk to another doctor. If your doctor can't figure out what's wrong, go see another doctor. Even, again, if the physical and the blood work come back great, everything, but you don't feel right, get a second opinion. Go talk to another doctor and keep investigating rapidly until you figure out what's wrong. Because it's your health. The final thing to remember here is that scan. So in the link in the description, I have a video from Maria Menounos, who just recently is clear of pancreatic cancer. She was stage 2 pancreatic cancer. She started having these stomach pains. There's an interview with her where she talks about, now this is a celebrity. Money's not an issue. The best doctors, right? Still, and extremely healthy, still was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, had a tough battle with it. And in the beginning, between the 3 different doctors that she had, they still couldn't figure out what it was until she finally got an MRI. So the key here is, if you're at the end of this and the doctors don't know what's going on, you gotta find a way to get a CT or MRI scan. The MRI scan was how Maria Menounos found her pancreatic cancer. And my father's pancreatic cancer was found in the emergency room with a CT scan. So that's my final message to you. Take control of your health. Do what you can with the risk factors to limit them. And if you feel something going on that doesn't feel right, take action on it. I thank you so much for watching this video here. And Dad, this video, I attribute this one to you. Thank you so much for watching.